I'm Howard Carroll, and I'm the trustee for the Harold J. Miossi Charitable Trust. I've been the trustee since Harold's death in November of 2006. He was born and died in the same house. Went through the San Luis Obispo school systems, went to San Luis High, went to what was called then the junior college at San Luis High, and then went to Cal Berkeley, graduated with a Phi Beta Kappa, and then returned to San Luis Obispo to farm. And it was only after his father drowned in an accident in Reservoir Canyon that Harold left the farming and became a probate referee and then spent the rest of his working career there. So he was always very mindful of education and always wanted to focus on education and the need for it.
Yeah, my name is Gil Stork, and I've been almost a lifelong resident of San Luis Obispo, moving here when I was 6 years old, and never thought I'd stay here, but thank goodness I did. We're here at Cuesta College, and I spent 51 years here, starting as a football coach and a math teacher. I knew Harold. I also had a long-time relationship with Howard Carroll, since he was one of my students when I first started teaching at San Luis High School back in 1964. And I had followed him through his career. I became aware of Howard's connection to the Miossi Trust. I'm in admiration of Howard for being so true to Harold's wishes. We were having a foundation meeting up in the North County. Harold needed a ride. And so our president at the time, Grace Mitchell, said, "Hey, can you give Harold a ride?" And I said, "Sure." So I, drove out there past Cuesta Park and down back where the ranch was, not knowing what was going to attack me back there. And I picked up Harold and had this wonderful conversation with him as we drove to Paso Robles. He would point out areas of the environment as we drove up the grade, especially Cuesta Canyon, and he would tell me stories about saving these particular kinds of properties or lands. And I lived here most of my life and I had no clue, how critical or how passionate somebody could be about these things.
Well, Harold Miossi was an alum of San Luis Coastal, and we got to know Howard through our board members who knew him and knew his involvement in the community and the ways that Howard is working with the trust to really drive impact in the community and a legacy for his friend Harold. I feel the responsibility to honor Harold on Howard's behalf. I think the only thing about this work that is not satisfying is to not personally get to know or meet Harold, because we're doing this work in his name. We're doing this work for his legacy.
So I feel like Howard's vision is beyond just the trust that he's managing. I think his vision is that it extends to other philanthropists. He wants to inspire others to give. And so by providing gifts and showing what's possible in the community, he hopes that other people will see that and see what that does and see how that money can be used and how that just takes off for generations to come, and that one small investment or maybe one large investment can be something that will impact hundreds of thousands of people. We have over 100,000 people come through these doors every year, which is pretty remarkable.
My name is Leanne Standish, and I'm the Executive Director of the San Luis Obispo Museum of Art. I think the museum is a great place to talk about the Miossi Trust and specifically about Howard. He would come in and looked at what used to be a classroom, which is now the most beautiful gallery in the museum, the Nyback space, completely funded by the Miossi Trust, an investment in our future, an investment in our sustainability. His philanthropy and the Miossi Trust are meant to and actively work to engage other donors. It's really beautiful. It's very thoughtful. The Miossi Trust is a sponsor of this exhibition. The exhibition is called Sea and Mist. Camille's work is about colonialism and her own Filipino heritage, and Camille started researching this area, and what she unearthed for us which is embarrassing, I think, for all of us that we didn't know this, was the first Filipino landing in what is now the United States, was through Morro Bay in 1587. We really wanted to do a publication that accompanied the exhibition, and so the Trust fully funded the catalog, which allows us to keep this beautiful show in perpetuity.
Miossi has been a critical part for a couple aspects of our program. When we find certain invertebrates and bugs in the creek that are pollution sensitive, we know that if they're flourishing, like, our waters are clean. But another thing that Miossi funds enable us to do is really connect with our partner organizations and help strengthen relationships between other projects going on in the area that may have similar goals.
Harold Miossi was very passionate about educating children about agriculture and stuff. Give these kids a glimpse of how important water use is, conservation, land use. Howard likes to say that it's the biggest, best kept secret in the county. He doesn't understand why, because it's such a wonderful, phenomenal program for our youth.
3, 2, 1, go!
We are very fortunate to be the recipients of a lot of grant money from government agencies to do a lot of the science and conservation work that we've done over the years. We also have support from some really important community foundation members, for example, the Miossi Charitable Trust for Education. We're so grateful that we have people in the community who understand the importance of what we do.
Leadership is essential, and so certainly providing funds to have projects move forward is necessary, but without leadership, projects won't move. The Miossi Trust has funded grants of over $21,280,000. 99% of the funds were invested in San Luis Obispo and the immediate surrounding area. And we're not finished.